5.
See, I told you like that shit.
Go, Pork. Yeah, baby. What's Corey?
It's the shit right here, bro.
Here it is. I like this.
Frankie, the Godfather.
I'm in.
You hear that bass? Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another very special episode of the Ash Chats podcast. All right. Once again, I am David Brown, one of your hosts, joined always by Folch, a.k.a. Blaze One, and Cappy, who will be here later shortly. We've actually got a really special episode going on right now. We got a lot of people in the house today. It's a special one. So without further ado, we have the magnificent. I can't speak anymore.
That's all right.
Introduce yourselves.
Magnificent 6. Let's go.
I'll start down on the left end here.
There we go, Frankie.
Big Frank's in the house tonight. Thank you guys for having me. I am one of the Magnificent 6. What does that mean? Well, what we're drinking tonight is what we put together in Kentucky at Maker's Mark. So I'm Frank. I'm happy to be here. I'll kick it to you, Richie.
Blaze One in the house. Like I said, like Frank said, this is what we put together. Thanks to Arturo and Porco for giving us this opportunity. It was great. It was amazing. Everybody should have the chance to do something like this, especially if you're a bourbon lover. This is once in a lifetime thing, and we got to do it. So thank you guys very much. Well, so like they said, Porco, this is your place. So I'll start with you.
Hey guys,
thank you very much for inviting us and letting us record here.
Thank you for having us. Casa Porco here. Welcome everybody. Thank you. Prime Tobacconist. We'll talk about that later. Home of Ross Family Cigars. We'll talk about that later. Big thank you to everyone. We had a great trip back in December. That was a long time coming. Sat with Corey of Wines and More. You'll meet him in a second. I said, hey, Corey, whenever you get a second, whenever you get the chance, we'd love to go down and pick a barrel with you for you. And he made it happen. Corey, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
No, you're welcome. I'm Corey. It's great to be here. Thank you for having us. Again, thank you for the hospitality.
Sir.
So this is a really exciting. I kind of think of it as a love story, you know. A guy named Porco. I don't know his real name for a while. Comes to the shop. I found out his real name, and then from there we started drinking some whiskey, talking cigars, and then we meet at a mutual friend cigar lounge, and then from there we find ourselves kicking off his business, a cigar line, a private barrel that they created. All at the same time, so it's just it's really exciting to be part of.
That's a lot all at once, man. That's pretty cool.
It's incredible, really.
Yeah, it was time. It was time. We've been talking about it for years. Something we all wanted to do, and the opportunity presented itself, and here we are.
Sir.
Awesome.
Yeah. So what I'll say is, this really is unique for Wines and More in the business. What we do is we have a whiskey club, right? Yep. And then we go out and we pick barrels typically. And this is the first barrel that wasn't picked by myself. Usually it's myself and a team of people. So to be honest, it was kind of like letting go of a child a little bit. This is a program I've been running for about a decade now, and
running quite well.
Oh, well, thank you.
We all know this has come from that relationship, from Wines and More, Jeff, everybody. I mean, I remember when you started,
Yeah.
And the opportunity to sip and taste and learn, we've all become smarter just from something we picked up from either from you, through him, to Richie, to me, and it goes around,
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And excuse me, and that's the best part of it. What you just said is, if it's always the community. I know this is a cigar podcast for the most part, but you have a community. I've been welcomed into the cigar community thanks to you guys, right? And I appreciate that. And it's a perfect pair, right? We all know cigar and whiskey go together, right?
Perfect.
So,
yes, sir.
But that's kind of like a secondary and tertiary thing. The first thing really is the relationships. These are new. I've known Frank from the business and in town, but again, it's the first time, and I can tell you that what's in the glass is excellent. So,
Awesome.
cheers to the Magnificent Six.
Thank you.
You can pick another barrel for Wines and More.
So we can sip another one.
There
We
you
can
go.
take another sip now.
Yes.
Okay.
The
just wanna make sure.
Godfather has blessed us for a second round.
And enough said. It. If you guys haven't had a chance to go to Wines and More and talk to Corey, please do go down there. I mean, his knowledge of this stuff is it's not matched. I'm telling you right now. I started it, and I just know it from what I like. And talking to him and him explaining different things and different ways that these bourbons are, made, it's phenomenal. So you guys got to take a trip down there, talk to him, and he's going to lead you in the right direction every time. I'm telling you that right now. If you don't have a chance to do it, make sure you just cut a little bit of time out and go talk to him.
And we say that the tasting room is always open,
Well,
right? So we have a proper tasting room, hundreds of whiskeys open. You haven't been in yet. I'd love to have you come down. It's a lot of fun.
Let me know when.
It's all complimentary. So, so that's that's what we do day to day, and the community is what we build over time, right? And like I said, that's the good part. And this one, I said I wasn't there to pick it. I wasn't there to pick it. These six went out to Kentucky and experienced what I would call a true peek behind the curtain. So when I go out there and I get to pick barrels, it's all trade, right? So it's business to business. It's a different kind of access than you get when you just go and you buy a ticket on their website. And, for me, that's the special part. That access that you get, that you experienced as a group to create this, which you'll tell the story about when I'll get away because I wasn't there to create it. So I'll get out of this way so you guys can talk about it. But that's where the story of the whiskey is told. And that's the story that will live on in this bottle forever.
Hell yeah.
Is the story.
Right.
And that's what it's about. So to get that feeling, I know it's special. I'm glad to share it with everybody here. And it will continue, not with this bottle, but the next bottle that we do and the next bottle that we do. So,
Well, hell yeah. That's an
awesome.
interesting thing that kind of becomes a theme through all of our episodes and through all of our conversations, really, is that community, right? It's the stories, it's the experiences, and the community you build off of that, no matter if it's cigars, bourbon, beer, baseball, whatever you guys might,
It's so
you might be interested in. There's a community there, and I find it especially stronger in the bourbon and cigar communities. There's just something about it that there's a common bond that's not popular, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not too common.
Yeah. I think that's it's surely connected. Like a lot of men, right? Let's be honest. There's a lot of men that smoke cigars, a lot of men that drink bourbon, right? But there's also a whole new cohort of people coming on in, and it's young, and it's men, and it's female. I see it firsthand at the shop. So, that community you're talking about, well, it may feel a little tight, but once you kind of start going with it, the spiderwebs keep going, and you're like, wow, oh, Frank's wife likes whiskey. Oh, and then if someone doesn't like whiskey, then I take that as a challenge. Just, hey, let me try this one, and to give a shout out to one that I recommend everybody try after trying to get somebody to start to like whiskey.
Yep.
Penelope 80 proof whiskey. It's so light, it's approachable. So, you talk about community. It's important. Keep the community growing. There's always room on our boat. So let's keep on spreading it, because I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of people that are looking to get in on this.
Right.
It's still growing.
Yeah.
And women, non-drinkers, people who drink vodka, just give them a taste, and then tell them you can make a cocktail with it. Let's just keep the community growing, right? Because it is fun. It's one of the most fulfilling things about what, we do day to day. It's all good. We sell things, this and that, but I'm telling you, something I've learned as I've gotten older, right? One of those things with wisdom of time is it is the people that you're around, right?
And these are two things that, to Corey's point, there's something for everyone, right? Bourbon, cigars, there's a cigar for everyone, a light, a medium, full. Same with bourbon, same with wine, same with tequila. There's something for everyone. So don't be intimidated. Cigars, it's a guy thing. Bourbon, it's a guy thing. It's nothing further from the truth. There's something for everyone.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And before we get too far down the rabbit hole, which I know we're going to get deep in the rabbit hole with you guys' experience picking this barrel and all the nuances that went into that, but Talk to me a little bit about the cigar that you chose for us to smoke today.
Sure. Yes.
On the show as well, baby.
So this is a Ross family cigar, Rick Ross. No, not that one. Rick Ross, Milford, Connecticut. He can't be here tonight. He has a prior engagement with his family.
He's busy. Yes. Busy man.
We have a bunch of cigars coming out. Rick and I are partners in this new endeavor. This is the Rick Ross. It's our first cigar, our first blend. I'm going to have my cheat notes here, but it's a Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers, Criollo binder, and a Mexican San Andreas wrapper. So it gives
Nice.
full of flavor, very strong, very powerful. We have 3 new cigar blends coming out at the end of the summer. We listened to everyone. We heard you. We'll have a medium cigar, a medium to light, a medium full, and another full cigar represented by the end of the summer. We'll have them at Prime Tobacconist when we open at some point in July. Love for you guys to come out and try them. Again, back to what I said earlier, there's something for everyone.
Nice.
Awesome.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, this smoke, I've had it before. I haven't had it in a while. So I think it's actually aged. I liked it when I had it, but I think it was still a little fresh. It was still a little new. And it's aged quite well.
I think you're right on point with that, Dave.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. I'm with you on that. I've had it a couple of months back and then now, so.
Yeah, so they're sitting in our humidor at Ross Family Cigar Headquarters, as I like to call it. It's a humidor built by Rick. You know, he's a mason or a cabinetry maker by trade. Built a humidor by hand, by himself. And they're in there aging, so they're just going to get better as we open box after box.
Awesome.
Yeah, and it's pairing phenomenally well with the with this bourbon too. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nice sweet caramel flavors.
Yeah.
It's going nicely with the San Andreas wrapper. I'm a sucker for a San Andreas wrapper.
Yeah.
So
Apple pie.
Apple pie.
Apple pie. So when I tasted this and smelt it, you know, I was blind to this. I wasn't there, so I didn't have any tasting notes, which is kind of fun for me. Initially was I got that baked apple pie, warm baked apple pie, so mature brown sugars. Then I went back to the cigar and then back to the whiskey, and then boom, some sweetness popped out of that whiskey.
Some molasses, you getting that too a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I'm thinking now I'm getting to those sweeter notes, those marshmallow notes you hear. So quite often with Maker's private select picks, you'll hear marshmallow, candied marshmallow, toasted marshmallow. And there's a toast note in there, but I didn't pick out that, that sweet marshmallow note till I got that cigar. And one of the notes on the cigar that popped with me originally was the spice, this beautiful spice that hangs. And I think that spice with that sweet, it just made that sweet pop out of that.
I think Richie's responsible that when we were sitting in the room, and we'll get to how it all happened, but we were trying different combinations of staves that they had provided for us, and really it's a combination that's there are 5 of them, and it's just a matter of how much of each up and down, and we kept keeping the spice, dialing it down a little bit, and we kept raising the sweetness and some of those other tones that you're feeling. We were in there an hour and a half, so
you accomplished it. You accomplished
took us a while.
Absolutely, really. It is exactly what you just said. And then there's also a weight and a viscosity to it. Something I talk about nonstop. If you're around me, I apologize. You'll hear me talk about that all the time.
Reach on, brother.
But that oiliness, the way it coats your palate, it's a top shelf whiskey. You know, you taste it and you know you're getting it.
It does. I mean, you swirl this thing around, you see the legs it's got. It's
That's
thick.
what he said.
It's thick. So
Yeah.
I
It's
didn't
got it
think
all.
about that until he said it.
It's got everything.
That oiliness is actually really good. It hangs.
Yeah.
Look at that hanging down.
It's beautiful. I mean, I want to take a couple minutes out, not even a couple minutes, just a minute out to really congratulate, Porco. Just tell him how proud I am of what he's done. I mean, I've known Porco for a little bit now, at the club, just every once in a while popping in, and we just have great fucking time, just cigars and bourbon. And now that he has this avenue to do cigars and bourbon and coffee, because there's going to be 50 different coffees at this spot
Yeah, we gotta talk
that
about
he's
that.
opening
You
up.
didn't tell me that.
Oh, listen, I'm telling you.
It's a whiskey show.
Just think about this.
I'm not saying it's a cigar in a year. Everyone gives you cigars, but
He tells me these things, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, dude, I'm just so proud of what he's doing, and he's worked so fucking hard on what he's done, and now he's literally 7 minutes from his house, where he can go in the basement of his Prime Tobacconist place, do his little job that he's gonna do on the side, and do the passion that he loves. The fucking guy is amazing.
Thank you.
I just want to, listen.
Hey, cheers to pork.
Cheers to John.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
love you, brother.
And generous. We can't.
This is the guy that brings it all together here. This is who brought me here, who brought everybody else here. So
I appreciate it.
100%.
Thank you.
100%.
Thank you for letting me do it. I love these guys like brothers. I haven't been around a lot, traveling everywhere with my old job, and it was a blessing in disguise. Got to spend time with my family, first and foremost, wife, my kids, my 2 boys, Luca, Johnny.
Yes, sir.
And then, these guys, they're great. They keep me alive. Keep me going. It's something I've been wanting to do forever. It's a blessing to meet Corey. Rick as well, Arturo, who's on the way.
Oh, good.
Nice.
Can't wait to introduce you guys to Arturo.
Hell yeah.
Arturo is my partner at Prime Tobacconist.
Which actually, if you've seen older episodes of the Ash Chat, we had Arturo on when he was repping My Father Cigars.
Yeah.
And many of his alter ego voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's
also to go to couple that, great palate as far as cigars.
He's
the king.
Yeah,
An
he's a
encyclopedia. He really is.
Yeah.
You can ask him about any cigar. I can't wait for you guys to meet him at the shop, at the lounge. Ask him anything. He'll tell you everything you need to know about any cigar that's out there. I can't wait for you guys to meet him in a little bit.
Yeah, and I can't wait to. I think we're going to dive deeper into the whole Prime Tobacconist thing too in a later episode. I would love to do one from the shop, from the lounge when you guys open.
Yep.
Have all you guys there. I think that would be a really great episode. To really dive deep into that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Love to have you. It's going to be a little different. I'll end it with that. It's not your typical lounge. We're going to have entertainment there. Every cigar under the sun.
Follow on Instagram. It's a great follow. It's just seeing the progress that's coming up. What's the best Instagram handle that people can?
It's all everything under Prime Tobacconist. Dave, I'll give you the exact handle so you can post.
We'll tag it too.
Yep. And it's a lounge for everyone. It's not members only, so you can come in, buy a cigar, enjoy it, ask questions, hang out, do work, enjoy the day, whatever it is. It's not a members only lounge, so just something to remember.
Awesome. Thank you. So back to this this pairing and this bourbon specifically, especially while we still got you, Corey. So what lent you to kind of give up the reins and trust these
That's
6
the words. That is the words.
I'll say these 6 adults, but I use that term loosely.
Good job with that, Dave. So right on.
So one, it really, I mentioned it. Pork kept coming in, John kept coming in, and that's how it starts in my world. I'm on the retail end, so I'm faced with thousands of people.
Oh, yes.
A week, not just a month, a week. So hundreds of thousands over the years and millions now over the decades. So some people make an impression more than others, right? So I don't know if that's just one of his skill sets.
It definitely
which
is.
it may be.
It definitely is.
And it's not just about it's not just about what you buy. It's anybody can come in and buy something, right? A lot of guys can buy $100 bottles, right? Right. And we're grateful for them, right? Just same way we're grateful for $30 bottles and $12 bottle guys. But it's how you connect and how you walk in and your approach, right? Just like anything in life, I'm sure, right? So, John walks in and he's got a great way about him, and and
He's so cute.
We talked about community enough. I'll say it again. This is the example. Started with a random person to walk in.
Yep.
Build trust over time. Get to know him. I know about his kids. He knows about my kids. You get to know each other a little bit more above and beyond. You start breaking bread, having cigars, drinking corn, bourbon. And then before you know it, we started picking barrels together in the store because that's something that happens quite often.
Yeah.
So then I'll invite people to pick barrels. And John was one of the boys that I said, hey, why don't you want to come help me pick this barrel? And then from that point on, it becomes inside baseball here. If you're good at it,
right.
I'll invite you back.
Fair enough.
So I do a lot that are random, and I invite whoever wants to reply. But sometimes there's certain taste profiles that I want. So I know I've learned John's palate, and that's wonderful for me over time, and I can kind of deploy that palate on a barrel pick because I don't want just what I like. That's not the way the group works. The group is I'm going to taste 6, 7, 8, 9 people. We're going to vote though on those barrels, and then we're going to pick the one that we all like best. Same exercise you boys had to figure out on your own out there in Kentucky,
Which was great.
Yeah, it's fun. Teamwork is always the best,
100%.
right? So that's how we pick these barrels. I've done it with John enough. he approaches me. This is after more than a year, right?
Yeah. About, yeah.
More. Had a couple years.
Yeah.
And he says, I'd love to go. And my only thing to him was, don't pick assholes because you're representing Wines and More.
100%.
So
So you just left it to him to pick who went. You didn't even pick.
I didn't clear the list.
Wow.
I saw a name on there that
is
won't say
ballsy.
that is here.
Yeah, but you know,
I was worried
you know
about.
what pool he swims in.
Yeah.
Come on, and I
Yes. Yeah. So the only person I
That's
knew
behind us.
the only person I knew before is Frank, and that's from the Chamber of the
Well,
Rotary.
again, I know, and if I could back up,
Yeah.
Jeff Wilson, who's,
Yes.
Wines and More with you.
Yeah.
And we were in Rotary together, Milford Rotary, I've known Jeff for 12 years, whatever. I remember when he brought you on, and
Yeah.
we were raving about, the new whiskey guy, like, whiskey, this is great. So when you teach us, or John has a palate, it kind of spreads around. Now, we all might agree on, say, 80% of a profile or 70%. I'll assimilate it to back when I was a Scotch drinker. I didn't like anything peaty or too smoky or whatever. That doesn't mean that people don't love that stuff or whatever, but we kind of have a like-minded profile of tastes, and then it expands upon that. And when you had 6 different guys in a room for an hour and a half, over and over and mixing it and redoing it and trying it.
Now I wasn't there, so I want to know. Did they have a whiteboard for you to work through?
So
What
it's
was
like
their
a
setup?
chalkboard, and the way it works out is, it's all in front of you on the thing, and she explained to us. We had a wonderful girl.
Time out. Hannah.
Hannah.
If you're watching this, thank you.
We didn't forget you.
We didn't forget him.
Sorry.
Well, I learned at Four Roses that you need to be guided through that because it's a sea of unknown.
We were there. Yeah, it's true.
So Hannah clearly did a good job. You enjoyed it.
Hannah was great.
Yeah.
And listen, and I'm not going to throw shade on her, but we had our lunch, right?
Yep.
And Hannah was already blasted.
Loved us.
So when we got to the spot, me and Cappy actually took over Hannah, and Hannah was just laughing with John. And me,
I'm sure Hannah wasn't drunk at her job.
No,
Just
no.
mixing the beaker.
she just tastes bourbon all day long.
Yeah, right,
Yeah, she wasn't.
No, there is a craft to that. I'm not always drinking all the time.
Right.
I'd have a problem and I'd come home just drunk every day because I'm reading with hundreds of bourbons a week.
So Hannah was, I don't know, too short, too she's to win, whatever she was. So me and Cappy said, fuck that. And we were drinking the straight barrel shit. And then we said, all right. And then every time they would change the staves with us, we're like, yeah, this is fucking great.
Right.
And then John comes over, puts it in. And everybody in that one point said, put this in.
Right.
We put it in. We brought it to the table. It was the 3rd round. And we were like, fuck, this is great. But we still went the 2nd and we still went the 4th and 5th.
That's right.
So we were a little fucking toasted, but the 3rd was sticking out, and this is what the 3rd is, and it was amazing.
So in that room, I want to learn from you guys before, because I do have to get off.
Yeah.
And there's other people. So
do I.
That's what she said.
What was what was it like? I have my chalkboard. What do you have? Do you have a Lazy Susan with a whole bunch of recipes?
Corey, we had a table like this.
It was
Gotcha.
a big king's table in a private
amazing.
room. And people were going by the window looking in.
So you're the show.
We're in
the
the
show maker.
100%.
They're looking at it.
Amazing.
Well, the term is ambassadors.
Thank you.
We're ambassadors.
Gotcha.
If you go to the Maker's Mark website and you look about becoming an ambassador, it tells you. There it is. So that was what it was. So they gave us the pins, and people are coming by looking at us and all that stuff. But it was
great.
there was a booklet that they gave us that described each individual stave and what they did. And what a stave is basically, it's a bourbon barrel. That's a basic barrel that they'll put in a piece of wood that's got a certain flavoring. They'll age it for 9 weeks or so it'll adapt that flavor. So we had those 5 that we picked from, and it's a matter of each. What was it, 10 ounces?
10 ounces. You sound so smart. I loved it.
Oh, I went to Notre Dame High School. I'm a Catholic.
Jesus Christ.
There were no girls, so I had to focus. But I love books in my right hand, so it was wonderful. And you learned from the book and what you were tasting and how to do it. And then Nick's got the pin on him right now, as a matter of fact.
Look at that fucker, dude. You are fucking amazing.
So you're in a proper room,
So you're in a proper room.
and then she walks you through. She says, "All right, if we want, what do you like about that? Turn
Yes.
this down.
Yes.
Put this stave up.
100%.
I love it. That's great.
And they had, and Richie, remember they had like this, it was like a wooden,
Dead on my left ear.
it was like a wooden, it's like a tray.
Yeah.
And there were spots for all of the different 5 flavors.
There was.
and then you would taste this so you can assimilate. Okay, that's what the French tastes like. That's what the baked tastes like.
Right.
That's
So you
the
get
white
base.
lightning.
So you do the base first, and then you started going into what you want.
Then you would expand up and outward. So from that point, it was just a matter of wash, rinse, repeat. Just let's try this combination. Let's that.
Awesome. No,
Too
that's
much
great.
spice. Not enough of this. Not enough that.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to experience it, like I said. And before I hop off, because I know it's time to get off, we should talk about the event, right?
Yes.
So this event, if I can, then I'll hop off.
Of course, man.
This is at Prime Tobacconist. This is a closed event. This is a pre-ticketed event. If you did want to buy tickets, you can go to winesandmoremilford.com.
Ooh, let's go.
The A and D spelled out. And then we'll connect you to you get your tickets online. Now, what's going to happen at the event, right? We're not just, part of what I love about what John does and the way we've always done events is to, do them right. You get a bottle of this with your ticket. You get a couple cigars, Rick Ross selection.
Okay.
You get to experience Milford's newest tobacconist club lounge.
Awesome.
Right. And then, we're going to have all kinds of fun stuff, right? So we're going to have good food, a lot of Lobo Rays.
Rays.
Who may hop on. He's here. I don't know if he's hopping on.
He's here. Episode 1.
So he's going to do the catering. We've done now multiple events with him, and we know it's always on point.
Awesome. Yep.
We're going to have a brand ambassador there. Erin from Jim Beam Global is her parent, the parent company that makes Maker's Mark. She'll be there to talk about the brands and the process. We're going to have door prizes. We're going to have giveaways throughout. And then we are also going to be doing a tasting of some Heart of the Find of the Jim Beam product stuff. So some of the bakers, bookers, and Freddie No Little Book legacy kind of brand.
Nice.
And then the door prize will be fun too. We're going to pick another barrel. So, we're going to do a Knob Creek selection on site.
That's nice.
Well, these guys got to experience going to Kentucky, which is definitely the most fun.
Yeah.
The majority of the barrels that we pick, they send out a kit, and then we pick from that kit. So what we're going to do at the event is we have 6 pallets on it, and Knob Creek selections are the coolest. They're the most fun. It's going to be a little science kit. We're going to have a little test tube, and we're going to get it at full proof.
Also gives you the whole shit.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then you get distilled water from the distillery in Claremont, Kentucky, I believe, right? Claremont. And then we're going to proof it down to 120 because that's what the bottling proof is. And then we're going to make a selection of these samples we get. We get typically 3 in a kit. So that'll be the door prize too. So we're going to pick another barrel over there.
Fucking amazing.
So all this stuff is going to be happening.
So is that door prize happening at the event?
It'll happen at the event. We're picking it
That day?
Yes.
Damn.
So it's going to be an on-site selection.
Perfect. All right. So speaking of that day, what is that day?
It is Friday this week. What's the date?
21st.
21st.
Yeah. 21st.
Yeah.
All right.
And 6:30 start or 6 o'clock start. 6 o'clock start, and it says 6 to 8, but I think it's 6 to whenever, right? That's kind of the vibe I get.
All right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Friday 21st, 6 o'clock at Wines and More.
No,
Yes.
at
Prime Tobacconist.
Yeah, and we'll
You
get the
go to
address.
winesandmore.com to buy your tickets.
Wines and More Milford.
Blaze one. God damn, I'll get something right.
I know, it's just the problem was somebody had the Wines and More, so we had to add Milford in. And my ideas weren't accepted, so we went with Wines and More Milford.
I gotcha. But when I type it all out, we'll get it 100%
And
right.
I'll send you a link as well.
Yeah, please do.
I will. So I'm going to step out now. I want to say thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Corey.
Everybody, thank you.
Thanks
You
for
created
awesome.
a beautiful whiskey.
Without you, we couldn't do this.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it's
Thank
a lot
you.
of fun.
Appreciate it.
So I'm out now. Thanks, all right?
Appreciate
We'll
you,
see you
bro.
soon. I'm going to go drink.
Okay.
All right, man.
Okay.
So while he steps away,
Blaze is going to step out, have Cappy come in.
all right.
So Cappy's going to come in right now. Thank you, guys.
All right. So while we do a little bit of switcheroo, I do want to say welcome to Nick, who is that new voice you just heard.
That's right.
What's up, buddy? How you
My name
doing?
is Nicky Primiano, a.k.a. Nicky Prim. Listen, all I got to say is this was one of the best experiences I ever had in my life. Being the eldest out of all of us and going on this trip and the 5 other gentlemen that I went with, it was the experience of a lifetime. And the pick that we picked is delicious. I can't express any more than that this Friday night is a great event. You get a bottle, you get a couple of cigars, you get great food,
You know, the one thing I forgot to ask Corey while I was on, Corey, what is the price of the ticket that people will be buying at winesandmoremilford.com?
120. Yeah.
120. That's a solid. $120. You get a special bottle of Makers, a couple cigars, and a shot at a door prize to pick your own
And
barrel.
food.
And a local raise.
And a local raise.
Yep.
Jeez.
And there'll be a rep from Maker's Mark and Jim Beam there, I believe.
You might have me leaving my gig early.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I might leave your gig early too.
No, it's all good.
You know, Frankie,
I'll be in your car.
Steve, I'll actually show up one of these days. My bad.
No, it's all good. That wasn't a shameless
love
plug.
for you, you know
That was a legit. I might leave early.
Dave, Frankie was talking about the ambassador pin. I'm wearing one.
Yeah, I see that.
And
We'll
this
get
is the
it.
ambassador pin that we received at the Baker's Mark.
That's really cool. We'll get a picture of that too to post on the post on Instagram.
And the cool part, too, Johnny Porco got to dip the bottle in the red wax at
Oh, really?
when we did our bottle. Right,
Such an idiot.
John? I'm talking about when you dip the bottle in the red wax that you see on every Maker's Mark. So that was pretty cool.
Experience is really great. Let's talk about that. You
Yeah, we're not going to hear you because you're on a microphone.
Well, Cappy's here.
I'm here.
You can hear. Take this one until Arturo decides to join us.
Watch the glass there.
The other way, John. Your mic, the other way. There you go.
So one thing we didn't really touch on was, well, we did. The experience itself. I mean, Maker's Mark is so welcoming. Yeah, you're driving, and you're like, man, where is this place, right? And then all of a sudden you turn a corner, or you go up a hill, and you're like, oh my God, there it is. It's this campus. It's beautiful.
Beautiful place.
They couldn't have done a better job. You get that nostalgic feel mixed with this modern feel. They treated us to lunch. They treated us like kings, really.
And the food was great.
Unbelievable. The lunch was great.
And the place is on the National Registry. It's a beautiful place. There's a bridge there they imported a Scotland mason
Hopefully,
to
it's
put
still
this
standing.
bridge together. Yeah, Cappy, we could talk about that in a second. I'll just keep you.
Talk about that. But Richie should come back on that one.
They cut all the stones. It was limestone. So everything that you drink in Kentucky are limestone streams and lakes. So in the case of Maker's Mark, there is a lake on the property, a limestone lake. And that's where all the water comes from for all of this.
that bottle that
They imported a guy from Scotland about 100 years ago, and he cut these limestone pieces, almost like a keystone, and fit them without any mortar, and built a bridge over a brook. Now, we know there's no mortar, Nick, if you want to talk about
Well, I
why.
want to talk about it because, I grew up in a family that, are Masons, and I was trying to explain to my friend Rich there that, it must be the cement, which the Italians call cement, cement.
Right.
There's cement inside. And Richie decided to take it upon himself, and only himself, to push in one of the blocks.
shit.
Right.
And it ended up going through.
In the river,
And
100 years later.
I was just,
I believe Nick said there's no fucking way they did cement. Am I right, Cap?
There gotta be cement over here. Ain't no way this is standing.
I haven't seen anything in the news where the bridge is falling.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's still.
That's
good
even
shape.
more impressive.
Yeah.
And then it was like Rodney Dangerfield. Like the rock drops. He's like, hey, who knew?
You know,
I'll tell you what, there's no cement on this. They're right.
Yeah.
it is no cement.
But it's a beautiful campus. There's walk bridges and there's space. So when we got there, they put us in what they call the farmhouse lunch. So John, if you want to talk about that, that was amazing.
So we walk in, they greet us, put us at this beautiful table, preset menu, and just from appetizer to dessert, just unbelievable. Remind me, we had a great salad to start.
There was a bread that weighed about a pound and a half that came out of the oven. It was like an 8-grain bread or something.
And then the soup.
Soup and
And the soup was something I never had in my life because I would never have eaten that type of
Ever.
soup with my wife.
right.
And when I told my wife, she says, really?
Yeah.
You're going to eat soup there that looks like that and tastes
yeah,
like
yeah.
that?
It was
Because I took
amazing.
a picture of it.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
Yeah.
butternut squash.
That it
And
was
they had the pulled lamb,
Old lamb.
which was absolutely delicious, something I never had before.
And by the way, the difference between a lamb and a goat is one day. and that's because on a 1 year anniversary, a lamb becomes a goat.
Really? See?
Yeah, that's what she said. So
Well, that's when they take off the boots. So,
it's pretty. I wasn't really listening. I don't know.
the back boots. You know, once you take off the back boots, right?
Then they brought us dessert. So the point is, they gave us just a wonderful, wonderful meal, and then we went in from that point after we toured the entire place. And by the way, the tour included tastings, and the reason why Hannah had such a buzz is because she really liked the White Lightning, which was 160 proof, and we were getting that right out of the pot. Still, it was still warm.
Yep.
She took a ladle and was filling all our glasses. And how would Richie describe the taste of that, Cap?
Oh, only he could describe it in its own.
She was absolutely
We'll ask him
amazing.
about that when we get back.
Steve, honest to God, we were there.
It was a great
5
host.
hours. It was just a complete,
awesome.
full, great day.
Very insightful. She knew everything, answered all our questions. It was awesome. That's great.
You know, the experience, you know, for someone that likes to cook, the experience that we had not only selecting the bourbon, sitting at what I call a king's table. The table is long, something that you would have a dinner for a king,
Yeah.
a queen.
Because I think Frankie used the same exact
30
word.
people.
It was
Gonna fit.
amazing,
It was
and
amazing.
full of bottles of Maker's Mark throughout the whole room. The experience was nothing like I ever experienced in my life, and like again, you know, I'm the oldest here, and I'm actually
By far, by the way, by far.
by far, and I'm actually, you know, it was actually a wonderful experience to achieve that moment.
For sure. I mean, when the opportunity came up and I was thinking about it, it was like, you know, how many guys do you know go on down to Kentucky and help pick a barrel?
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Really?
It's like, who does that?
And every time you tell the story to somebody, they look at you like, wait a minute. You actually went down there and you picked this on, you know, yeah.
You really have to explain it.
Yeah.
And by the way, once we picked the barrel, and the reason why this happened in December, and here we are in June talking about it, it's got to sit in the barrel for 9 weeks on the rack.
That's right.
So,
So
it can all kind of blend
So that's
together.
actually another question I was going to bring up with a bunch of you guys. So, yeah, you guys picked this in December. Here we are in June. How different is it from when you originally picked it? Like, do you remember exactly,
Yes.
or is it kind of?
So it's pretty similar. I think we taste a little more woody taste.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. I mean, it's sitting in the barrel,
In a barrel, yeah.
for months. It's going to pick up some wood taste from the barrel. But it's pretty damn close to what we picked. It really is, if I remember correctly. I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. But
Agreed.
this is, and we're not just saying this because it's ours and we picked it. It's really damn good.
Yeah.
And by the way, by comparison, we were in Kentucky for a few days. We went to Four Roses. We went to Jim Beam. We went to Bardstown. So we have other distilleries where we can compare the experiences, which were wonderful too as well. But when you think about Maker's Mark, you think of like this mass-produced, been around forever, and the idea that they provided such a individual experience and such a first-class experience.
Right.
For me, I was
Blown away.
I really was.
Yeah, and again, you don't have to be a bourbon lover to go experience this, really. I can't be a bigger advocate for it. This was my second time, not to Kentucky, I've been there a million times, but, you know, going to some of the distilleries, you've got to experience it. And if you can't make it out there, there are some up here in the Hudson Valley, upstate New York, that we've gone to. Dumbo, Brooklyn. My God, there's 3 or 4 down there.
Yep.
Good ones.
Kings County, Fort Hamilton.
Hill Rock, we went to.
That's right.
Iconic.
Just Taconic, thank you, one of my favorites.
And I was up at Lake George just recently, and they have a distillery up there. So they're all around.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole craft industry has expanded to spirits, and there are some very good craft distillers out there. So, you know, just because you haven't heard of them doesn't mean it's not good hooch. A lot of guys doing a lot of good work.
You know, Corey touched upon earlier about the experience and the camaraderie and how he understands John's taste and how we all kind of have a similarity. When I look around the room, I see Cappy. I mean, I'm in Cleveland calling him and I'm going, hey, I'm looking at these bottles. Should I grab this? He goes, well, you can get that here. But that Remus, that's a new thing. Pick that up. And now everybody knows about Remus. Right. So the idea of that, I'm looking at John, I'm looking at Cappy, and I'm looking at, you know, Nick turned me on to my first Widow Jane ever, whatever. So there's that. that camaraderie. It's like music, Dave. You know, someone might like something, and well, if you like this band, listen to this or whatever.
I liken it to everything. Like I said, I started out doing craft beer podcast, and then I got into cigars. So we did a combination beer and cigar one because I was like, these communities are exactly the same.
Well, beer becomes whiskey.
It's a craft.
Same process.
Yeah.
Same process.
It's a craft. It's an art, and I think all those arts have that similarity where you create community around it. You create bonds around that.
And as somebody who had not been to Kentucky, I know Cap has, you guys all have. I remember stepping out of the car. The very first place we went to was Four Roses. Early in the morning, it was December, it was a chilly morning. And what's the first thing that we noticed when we got
I think
out of the
I
car?
gave you my sweater.
No, I don't. I was sweating that day too. That's why I'm off camera. I'm schwitzing.
That sounded romantic, honestly.
But the first thing you smell when you get out of the car is bread, like that smell.
Okay.
And you see all the steam, and then you walk in the room and you see these kettles of just 20 of them that are, 150 of us can fit in these things. It's just everything about it for me. It was, and I know everybody else that's for the first time. It's just such an education to take what we now know through these friendships and through the educations, and then sit there and assert yourself as somebody who actually is knowledgeable enough to sit and say, you know what, I want in on this. I want to do that. And that represented all 6 of us.
Yeah, that's got to be such a cool experience just to like walk in the stills and like, I've never been to Kentucky. The closest I've gotten was working on the reality TV show Moonshiners, and that's not the same. I will tell you right now, that is. Yeah.
And each distillery is unique. The distilleries are all unique. Some parts of it may be a little monotonous, but they're unique. They're all going to tell you their different ways of blending, and it's really unique. Don't think that you visit one and you've seen them all. It's not true.
100%. Because when I came home and I was talking to people about the experience, and visiting the different distilleries and their whole process, and people are like, oh, well, it's the same thing. I'm like, no. I'm like, think about it. If I told you to go home, right? You got your way to
Fine,
go
I'll
home.
go.
I know where you live. I may go a different way.
Right.
We still get to the same place.
Yeah, great
but we
analogy.
may not take the same path. I'm like, it's the same thing with these distilleries. It's art and science, and somebody might take a left here, there. Like all Knob Creeks are 9 years. Something we learned when we were down there. Maybe it's a 3-year, a 5-year, and that timing is very integral to the whole process, as well as where it lays in the rack house, how long it's there, all
the weather,
weather, absolutely. All the nuances impart their own special flavor into the end product. It all matters, and it's really cool to experience and then hear about it and learn about how they do what they do.
They take a piece of wood, Nick, from a barrel, okay, something that's already aged, a whiskey. You take it out and you could see when you look at the stave, the one board from the barrel, and you could see how it penetrates the wood and how it marries and how it goes, in and out of the wood and how it derives the flavors.
Yeah.
Frank, when we went there and we were drinking the larceny, and the woman came, you asked the question about the
Story.
the story about larceny. Go ahead, Frank.
So we asked how was the how the name came about, and I think was it Jim Beam product?
No, that was Heaven Hill.
Heaven Hill.
Thank you very much. Which had Evan Williams in it too, I think. And by the way, they say there's a Beam in every bottle. That Jim Beam is the first family, and everywhere you go, like Booker's a nephew, etc. Larceny was because one of the guys that was in charge of the rick house, they noticed that a couple of the barrels near him had decidedly less whiskey in it than all the rest of them in the rick house. So they set up some cameras back in the day, and sure enough, he was stealing. And he got
how the name
arrested
came
for
about.
larceny. So then they kept that blend and decided as a homage to an individual, it's called larceny. It's like Booker's. Booker's is something where...
Well, there's another piece to that. Well, the guy, because this was if I'm not mistaken, it was the tax officer that was on site to make sure that, they were doing everything on the up and then reporting everything is appropriately. And this particular officer's name was Fitzgerald. So they were going to the spot where he was tapping everything. They were like, oh, this is pretty good. So
that particular section, those barrels that came out of there, that became Old Fitz.
Yes.
Old Fitz.
Is that Heaven Hill?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then subsequent years later, I forget the specific details, but it was in the same area, and they remembered Old Fitz, and that's where larceny came.
That's where larceny came.
Yeah.
Well, we went to the Jim Beam, and they had first of all, during the holidays, there was no place like Jim Beam. How they decorated there.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful court.
And we took a lot of pictures outside, and we continue to have those pictures through our phones and everything like that. And the first, when you walk into the place, to the left is all these decorative bottles of all movie stars and things like that. Those are all things. And I said to Frankie, I said, my cousin gave me a bottle of Kentucky bourbon, a Bob Hope bottle. And it has Bob Hope's face with his hat on back in the day when he used to do the
US
that's right. And I have that bottle. I said, Frank, I have one of those. It's empty. I drank the bourbon that was in it, but it was it's empty, and it was there. And that's amazing how what they did and the festive look of that whole place.
Oh yeah,
talking about the hardest working. I don't know if it was the hardest working because I didn't see anybody inside.
But they don't have a rick house, and they're owned by Suntory in Japan.
Right.
Most of the stuff that they cart it out of there and they ship it off to Japan.
well,
Okay.
well, they
part of that.
don't do what she told us about. There was a fire, in their history, it was like 100 years ago,
Right.
and the other distilleries kind of pitched in to get them up and running. So that's more of like a historical reference site where they do, all their mass production somewhere else.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was cool. And then, most of the distilleries, they have like these one-offs that you only can get there.
Right.
They have Four Brothers bottle that was at Jim Beam.
Yep. Bardstown had a few of those also, where it was just like off.
And the other thing, something to remember. We talked about this earlier. Don't let price fool you. You don't have to spend $100, $200 on a bottle. I love Wild Turkey. It's one of my favorite. Rare breed, Kentucky Spirit, $30. Right? I mean, it's a great bottle. It's a great pour. Don't be intimidated by some stuff that's out there. Again, I can't say this enough. There's something for everybody out there.
But to piggyback on that, when we were at
Heaven Hill.
it was Heaven Hill. They had a Salute to Heroes bottle,
Yes, that's right.
which was like $25.
And it was an Evan Williams label. I
Evan
believe?
Williams label. They do a special release every year. Salute to heroes, first responders, whatever. It was phenomenal. I was kicking myself in the ass that I only bought one
Yeah,
bottle.
only one out of all
we
of us.
crushed it in the hotel. And I was like, I should have bought like 5 of these. They were great.
Yeah.
But since we've returned, one of our other friends, Jay, found it, bought it, drank it up.
That's right.
And one other quick story on Jim Beam. Booker is a Jim Beam nephew. He had a special blend that he used to blend and just give to his friends. And if you'll notice, that's the only whiskey bourbon bottle that looks like a wine bottle.
Right.
And he used to pour it into wine bottles and bring it to all his friends. And he used to handwrite the label. So if you see a Booker's out there, it's always a barrel, it's always a cask strength, and it's handwritten, and they have maybe 8 or 9 different recipes. That's why they release the Booker's once or twice a year to each specific recipe, and that was pretty cool.
I got to tell you, I got to say, this is my first podcast I ever spoke on or did anything. And I was unaware how it works or.
I could tell by the way you're wearing the headset.
Yeah,
What's wrong with a giant head? That's not an XL.
It doesn't really. I don't like earbuds. I don't like that. That's the reason why I wear hearing aids. Because I never, when I was using a backpack blow, I never used that.
That's why it doesn't work a little dirty either.
Going back to what we have here and what's going on at Prime Tobacconist this Friday night. Listen, with the $120 through Wines and More, you got the bottle, you got 2 Rick Ross cigars, and you got food and prizes. You can't beat that.
Tastings.
For $120, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you're not going to have to open your bottle that night either. There's a Jim Beam rep and a Maker's Mark rep.
Right.
But yeah, Dave, this is great that you put this together for us. I had heard about this too, and I'm just thrilled to be able to participate and see it happen.
No, listen, I'm just glad I was able to find some guys and get this podcast going again. When we bring Arturo on in a few here, he'll tell you. We did the Ash Chat a while ago, and I was itching to get it back. I wanted to, and luckily we've talked about it on the show before. Luckily, I had these guys that also wanted to do it, and I was like, it fell into our laps. And I mean, this is a great bunch of dudes to do it with, and we're just gonna have so many cool guests, and it's so much fun.
We're definitely working on some good.
Now that we have Richie back on the line here,
What the fuck?
we could talk about the Chement. Because he's the one that he's the one that actually ruined the bridge.
Let's talk about. Hold on. I think at that moment maybe
look.
And then we'll welcome Arturo.
All right, we're gonna talk about the Chement, and then we're gonna fucking welcome Arturo. So at the Maker's Mark, they explained to us how they flew in this artist to do this bridge, right?
Many years
All these fucking stones that were
hand placed
to make it look like beautiful. Like, I mean, the bridge was fucking Frank. The bridge was beautiful. So Nick looks at me and he goes, "That's fucking bullshit."
No, but
It's cement.
the story the right
So
way.
I go, "What do you mean?" No, it's the right way.
Yeah, we said
It's the right way.
beautiful, right.
And he goes, "My dad used to do it. You put a little dab of cement in the inside, and it looks like it's floating, right?" So I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here." She just said this artist just did all these bricks. And he goes, "Push that brick in." And I'm like, "Are you serious?"
So he left the part out where he told you to do it.
He told me to do it.
I did.
So I walk over to the fucking brick, right?
What happened was
And I go,
I didn't tell him to jump off the bridge. I told him to push the
he
brick
told me to
in.
push the brick. So I push the brick, and the motherfucker goes like all the way in. And I go, "Oh shit." His eyes open up wide. I'm like, "You motherfucker." So I try to pull it out with my fingers, and it's not coming out. Everybody else is on the tour. We go running like two dickheads back to the tank. And I'm like, I can't get this
Like when you're on a school trip and like some middle school.
Oh my
about to decimate this fucking beautiful
That was
bridge.
Rich. That's what you call priceless,
It's
bro.
it's
That
fucking
was priceless. To look up over
Insane.
like two
Arturo,
kids.
you don't even understand what it was. My face was like,
What's the statute of limitations on that? Just in case this comes out.
I'm sure they got this off film.
hopefully nobody from Makers is listening.
yeah, if Makers is listening, we're fucked up.
I think you want everybody listening to this one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think they're gonna have to listen. My GoPro keeps crapping out on me. So anyway,
Hey, Arturo.
Arturo, welcome. I should say welcome back to the Ash Chat.
Yeah, it was nice. I showed you that. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, he actually just pulled up the old episode on his phone there. That was what?
3 years
3
ago.
years ago? Holy shit.
3 years ago, 2 days ago.
What? Exactly two?
Yeah.
No shit.
That I was the post you did. And it was in my memories because I had reshared it and
Yeah.
promote it. And then I was like, what a coincidence that literally is.
Literally almost to the day, 3 years.
And we don't talk to anybody.
And then there were two. But sir, welcome. We talked a little bit about Prime Tobacconist at the start of this, which is your new venture.
Yes.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Everything's looking awesome. I'm following you on Instagram, and
Fuck yeah.
everything looks so sick.
That's followed on Instagram because that's where the story continues to be unveiled. Even today, blinds got installed right on Instagram. I mean, I'm just keeping everybody in. It's kind of like a two-way street because as much as I love doing it, I still get the same question: "When you opening? When you opening? When you opening?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, just follow Instagram. It'll let you know when you're good to go."
Yeah.
So, but very
So when you
excited.
opening?
Soon.
Well, we're gonna lose a host pretty quickly.
15 pounds.
Looks like we should be good for July. I mean, fuck, everybody cross their fingers and your 15 toes.
Listen, we're not holding you to anything.
Yeah, right now everything is moving full steam ahead.
Everyone's just excited.
Yeah, no,
I'm sure not lost on you.
I cannot. I appreciate it. A lot of that is great energy that keeps feeding me. Anybody? I mean, I've been an entrepreneur with my wife for a long time, and when you're doing this on your own, and it's how you feed your family and everything, it comes with its own sets of emotional roller coaster and rules. Well, this one just took it out the park. I mean, this is like Magic Kingdom and freaking every Disney put together. I mean, talk about, I think, what's that movie now in the theater about the emotions?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I'm seeing that tomorrow.
What's it called again?
I forget.
Somebody chime in with that one, the new Disney movie with all the emotions. Anyhow, I have all those emotions times 1,000 every day. I wake up with it and I go to sleep with it, but most of it's always positive and it's really good. I'm looking to do something different that hasn't been done. I have the experience and a vision that a lot of people don't have, which is being an avid cigar smoker for over 25 years, working in the industry for 6 years, passionately all over New York and New England.
Inside out.
Yeah, which has been fantastic. And it gives me just a whole nother set of eyes. And for where we're opening, I feel like we'll definitely be able to offer something different that will allow cigar smokers to win. Because at the end of the day, the more cigar lounges we have open, everybody wins. That's what it's all about. People need options to go out and have a good time. And cigar smokers are constantly under the attack with taxes or rights or whatever you want to call it. But opening a cigar lounge is something to celebrate anywhere. So I'm going to take the W for this one.
God, that's awesome. When did you? I'm sure you've had the idea or the want for a while.
Mm-hmm.
When did it that switch flip and be like, this is the day I'm doing this?
So I've had this in my head for, I don't know, at least 10 years or so. I've always talked to my wife casually about it. My mom, just my sister, that kind of stuff. And then everything kind of accelerated when my mom passed this past November. The responsibility of, going down to Florida multiple times and helping my sister out and everything through my mom's final days was there. And then once that happened, it was kind of like it's time to start moving on with the next chapter of life. I remember coming back and it just started becoming more apparent that something was going to happen. My wife is me are wedding photographers, and she is now looking to do some transitioning, so that made it even better. So while she could transition, I'm transitioning and building this brick and mortar and getting this one off the ground because we do everything together. Our goals are aligned together. So, but yeah, I would tell you, November, as soon as I got back into November, sketches and notes and so much research and everything. In my head, I knew where I was going to go with this, 1,000%. And it's hard to keep contained, like when you really are excited because the difference between, a thought and an execution is the thing that holds most people back. I mean, literally everybody has great thoughts and they think, what if we had this? But they never follow through with it. Mm-hmm. And this is something finally that I can actually go through from concept to execution to, grand opening and be like, just, amazed and, very shocked, with regards to this. And I'm like, I can't tell you enough how excited I am with this. I know I sound a little monotone, but it's just killing me inside. It's so amazing.
So I'll tell you, Dave, just to piggyback on Arturo's spiel here. Everybody knows that I've been in the law enforcement, realm for about 17 years. So my whole thought of retirement is to start my own cigar lounge, right? And I want to pay homage to Arturo because, I said when I leave here, my daughter lives in Homestead, which is just outside of Miami, which is a great, huge, cigar lounge type place. But
Here in Connecticut.
Yeah. So Homestead has they don't have that much. And I just want to pay homage to Arturo because he reached out to me and he said, hey, bro, listen, anything that you need, I'm here for you because he's going through these struggles and everything that he's doing to start his cigar lounge. And he invited me in and said, hey, look, these are the beginning stages, right? And a lot of people don't do that because they feel competition, right? Mm-hmm. But, I mean, his heart is so big that he was like, this is my starting point, which it was raw, nothing there. And I went in there and I smoked a cigar with him. There was nothing there. There was paper on the floor, no walls up. And he's like, this is what you're going to start from. And that just speaks volumes to the person that he is because he's like, when you have questions and you're doing your shop, I'm here. And it emanates that this guy is an amazing guy. So when Prime Tobacconist is up and running, you guys need to visit there because they are going to have so many things that other cigar lounges don't have. It's just amazing. I mean, these two guys that are doing it, you know, him and Porco, it's going to be amazing. And you're going to enjoy your time there. You're going to go in, you're going to buy a cigar, you're going to have 50 different coffees that you can do. You're going to have bourbons that if you bring your own bourbons, you can do.
I hope that John becomes a barista in this one.
I mean,
that's good for him. He's on for the moon. He's like, you want a flat white upside down?
Flat white upside down. Listen, amazing. So kudos to these guys, man, because they're fucking amazing. They're beautiful people. I love them both. They're my brothers, and that's why we're here, man. You know.
Let me also point out, too, that I just want to give a shout-out to Raul Lobo Reyes. If you guys don't know.
Welcome back.
Lobo Reyes. You know, Latinos forever, you know what I'm saying? But I just want to give him a shout-out because, like, you know, he is definitely, like, that you know, that mile ahead of, you know, and he's gone through this experience of, you know, being in our 50s and, you know, and making these life changes, but the changes that we're making in our life are dream related. They're things that we kind of are going with our heart now. Lots of passion, lots of, you know, and, you know, he's having his grand opening as well this Saturday, which is fantastic for Lobo Reyes in Trumbull, Connecticut. And we definitely go back and forth and communicate. And even today, he texted me, came by. Now we got the stoop at Prime, which is fantastic. We just hang out, have a cigar, and just, you know, just listen to each other. And it's so cool because when everybody is, you know, working hard and they're successful, you know, you want to make sure that you're there. You got to get a good ear for it. I mean, just everybody kind of focuses, hey, when the shit's not going good, you know, I'm here for you. But the reality is you should be there when shit's going good just as much too, because that's when, you know, people really need you the most. And it really makes you feel good. So shout out to Raul. He's right over here.
Yep. And you know what? To piggyback on Raul, you saying to Raul, like, Alma de Hombre, right? That cigar society started in his backyard. So, I mean, obviously we're going to recap on past, you know.
Really? Is this a new story?
It's not a new story. But I tell you.
It's a long story?
It's not a long story.
I think this was episode 1.
We've been on several podcasts where we talk about it, right? Where we're in his backyard, and I decided to do Alma de Hombre, which is a cigar society for people that love to smoke cigars, sip bourbon, and whatever your lifestyle is, just to be involved in that type of thing. But I've always, you know, I've known Raul as always the IT guy. But we would go to his house for barbecues all the time, and he'd fucking cook phenomenal food. And I always told him, you need to open up a restaurant. And now that I sit back and I see my brother have his own spot, and he has these ready-to-go foods and, you know, soon-to-be hot plates, and he has a truck, you know what? I just give all praise to thanks to God because he was able to do this, because this guy right here, he's my brother, and if you don't have a shirt on your back, he's going to give it to you. And if you need an event, he's going to give it to you, and he's going to give you the best price. And if you can't afford that, he's going to make sure that he can do it for you, because that is the type of person he is. So everybody, if you have a chance, Trumbull, Lobo Reyes, go check him out. His food is amazing. The sandwiches are amazing, and you're not going to regret going to that spot. So I love you, and come on, get up on there, bro.
Thank you, brother Rich. Thank you.
Let's go, baby. Come on.
Let's talk I couldn't focus on that.
Step up to the pulpit. Let's go, man. What you got? What you got?
Yeah. So just like everybody said, right? So yeah, grand opening coming up this Saturday, June 22nd. Woo! Town's doing a ribbon cutting, 12 noon. Come on down. We're gonna have some free food, all kind of samples. You come down. It's gonna be a meet and greet, good time. But just to touch back on the background here, like Arturo and both Rich already alluded to, 32 years in corporate America, IT director by trade. I spent many a flight all over the world opening up data centers. Got to that point where my heart wasn't in it anymore. And Arturo was the one who actually I coined the phrase from my passion project. Ooh. That's really where I took this at. So after my last encounter with a corporate reorg, I told my wife, my heart's not in this anymore. Time to follow my new passion.
And that was all of you guys. I mean, I give my whole heart to Alma de Hombre. Every time we would do something, I would bring a tray of food, I would do this, I would do that, and everybody's like, bro, your food is so good, you got to do something with this. And so I took a cooking class. I had some really great people at that cooking class who gave me the confidence to say, you know what? So what? You're not a classically trained chef. Your heart is in your cooking. And that's all I try to give to people. I try to do things, you know, it's not necessarily 100%. It doesn't have to be a traditional recipe, but it's got my heart in it. It's got my flavor profile in it. I bring everything to the table. I put it, my motto is from my kitchen to your table, right? I just want everybody to sit down. What brings me joy is seeing that smile on people's faces when they eat my food.
Fuck yeah.
The love is in the food.
Hell yeah.
That's what it's all about for me. So when I sit down and and I have conversation, I say it all the time. I sit down, I talk with Arturo, and I'm like, this is a new world to me. This whole food industry, just entrepreneurship, new world to me. It's scary. I'm used to having a big team that I can bounce ideas off of and work through projects, and now it's all on my shoulders. And there's times where you feel like you're sitting alone in a cave, Yeah,
it's pretty interesting because as I mentioned earlier, how I felt like you're like a mile ahead, but in the execution portion of the program, but the entrepreneurship portion, that's where I am a mile ahead. And then it's great because like literally, I'm always the person, like if you're talking to me about like anything you have a passion for, my head's always spinning in that mode of, what can you add that is, could complement and, be able to just, put ideas out there because, I mean, the only idea that's bad is the one you don't say. You got to make sure to get them out there just to talk and get them out there. So it's actually really interesting that you and me do bond really well because every time I'm sure, we talk and it's like, oh, and then, how about we do this? Or how about you do this? And then we go back and forth and it's so cool. I love it. And I know what you're feeling because I've always used the analogy. It's like being in the middle of a body of water that you cannot see any land whatsoever around you, 360, and you have to tread, and it gets tiring, but you still have to keep treading because that's all you can do at that point.
100%.
We're so wild.
And I tell you, so I have this restaurant in Trumbull, Connecticut. It's a grab-and-go restaurant. I make the food, I put it up there, you come in, take what you want kind of thing. I have all different kind of options. My heart is in the catering. I love doing events. I love doing things at at various cigar lounges. I'm doing the event, obviously, what we're here for. We're doing the bourbon tasting event on this Friday.
21st.
On the 21st.
Already the 21st?
Yeah, I'll see a lot of people there.
Time flies.
And my thing is, like you said, it's that what happens behind the scenes. Like I just did the Father's Day cruise where we did a sunset cruise down in New York.
Amazing, everybody.
Run. And it was scary pulling it all together. I did have a blueprint, I pay homage to Captain John Davis, who passed away during COVID, but he was hosting these big cigar cruises. And I felt like, we need to continue. We need to do something like that. I'm going to do it. Let's cater it. Let's put the food on the boat. Let's get everybody together. And it's done, right? I was so nervous pulling the whole thing together, working out the logistics of the cruise line and the insurance and everything that goes behind the scenes. And so many things went wrong. But did anybody feel anything that went wrong?
No, absolutely.
Right? That's what happens with the business, right? The business behind the scenes, as long as you make it work. People have a good time, that's what I'm in it for. And to see everybody laughing and smiling and having a great time on the cruise, that's what I'm enjoying. That's what I hope to do more of. More events, more cigar lounges, more cruises, more backyard parties, more pig roasts. Let's get it done. Let's pop it.
No, that being said, I want to ask you what you think about our bourbon that we picked, the Magnificent Six. We picked a bourbon, and I want to know what you think. Lobo raised this chef, the fucking guy who actually creates food from his mind. What do you think about our bourbon here?
You thinking about a bourbon sauce, maybe?
So I will tell you, once upon a time, I did my own barbecue sauce, and I would add various liqueurs into the barbecue sauce for different flavor profiles.
Mm-hmm.
I took the first sip of this, and the first thing that hit me was, just looking at it, that deep caramel look to the liquid that's in that bottle. And I was like, wow, that looks really rich. And then I smelled it, and the first note that came to me was this heavy caramel smell that came off of it, right? And I'm like, wow, this smells really good. I took a sip. It is so full of flavor. It is an extremely flavorful drink. When I sipped it, it started off with okay, here I am. I swallowed, and I said, oh, there I go. It's got a little burn to it,
Right.
but not that heavy alcohol burn.
Right.
It's that kind of, ooh, I can sit back, relax, and enjoy this bottle.
Like a warm hug.
Yo,
That's what I'm talking about.
that's
I got a warm hug for you.
JD.
But definitely, it's a full flavored. I mean, there's no denying that there's some love put into the blend on this bottle for sure.
So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bring one of our other members on that Magnificent Six that picked the bottle, Dave Portella. Let's go, Dave.
We should give Dave some theme music. To the windows, to the wall.
Welcome, Dave.
Sorry, fellas, I've been partaking, so excuse me for my delayed response.
What a pour you got.
Yeah, this is a Folch pour here.
Like a half full pour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, welcome. You were part of the Magnificent Six that picked this this lovely barrel. What was your experience like?
Well, I was the last man in.
Okay.
So I was basically, heard about it. I was like, I'm jumping in on it. One ticket left. I jumped in on it. And I didn't know what to expect. Like, I like bourbon. I drink bourbon. I smoke cigars, hang out with the guys. So I knew nothing about it. I learned as I went. It was, I would tell anyone, even if you're not an avid bourbon drinker or cigar smoker or anything like that, if you have the chance to do it, do it. It was by far one of the best experiences I've had in my life, and it's something that's unique because you don't know what it takes to, pick a bourbon, pick a barrel. Like it's something that it's a very unique experience. So I would recommend anyone that has a chance, even if you're not a big bourbon drinker or anything like that, you have to partake because it was a phenomenal experience. And the guys that I went with obviously made the event, made the trip great, but checking out the distillery and then picking all the flavor palettes and everything, it was a phenomenal experience. And I'm glad that I last second I just jumped on it, and it was well worth it, worth every penny. It's an experience I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. And again, not too many people can say yep, I'm part of that bottle, I'm part of that barrel. So I recommend anyone who has a chance to do it, by all means, jump on it. It was a phenomenal experience. Obviously, the guys we went with made it 1,000 times better. They're like brothers to me. But it was a phenomenal experience.
Awesome. So how close? So obviously there was 6 of you guys down there. Mm-hmm. Everyone's got a slightly different flavor profile.
Yeah.
How was coming to the decision?
It was actually good. From this perspective, we all know each other, right? And we all communicate pretty well, right? We're not too shy about sharing thoughts.
That's an understatement.
So when you're down there and you're going through the process, and you have your flavor wheel and your base bourbon that you're building from, we all talked and took notes and we socialized. So I liken the experience to like conversations we had in the cigar lounge before we even got there, where we'll sit down and we'll talk about a subject and everybody will put in their 2 cents and we'll talk about it and build upon it. It was a very similar experience when it came to choosing, what our profile would be, what the Magnificent Six would become.
Why is that such a hard word to say?
Magnificent Six.
Well, it helps when you don't have a few drinks in you, but
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm about a magnificent 4-5 right now. So,
like Billy D.
oh my darling. But yeah, I mean, Dave definitely kick in. It's like, it was a trying to get 6 people to agree on something is hard, no matter what you're doing, right? But because I think we were familiar, we were open, we were honest, we talked about it, we took our time doing it too.
Yeah, I would say everyone has their I don't know, Cappy can correct me if I'm wrong. Cappy likes something on the
higher. I'm not say higher end, but on the stronger end. He's more of a higher proof, like Rich Folch. He likes something at the higher proof. I'm more middle of the road. I don't need anything to set me on fire, but I don't like anything too weak. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when we picked this one, everyone took it. We picked out the flavor profile, we poured it, we measured it. Everyone went back, took a sip, and everybody was unanimously like, "Yep, this is it.
This is the one.
This is it." And we still did it justice because after we said, "Hey, this is it." This was our third pick.
Yeah.
We still had 2 more picks, and we said, "You know what? This is great. Let's see if we can top it." And we went again, did the process 2 more times, and we're like, "Nope, number 3 is it. That is the flavor profile that everyone unanimously agreed to. That this is something everyone can enjoy." And I'll stand by it. And I was telling Cappy earlier, for me, I think this, even if you love bourbon and you're a drink bourbon every day or regularly, you'll enjoy this bottle. And if you're not a bourbon person, I think you get to have a sip of this and be like, "You know what? I don't drink bourbon. I don't drink whiskey. I'm a vodka person or I'm a wine person. But this has a flavor profile. It has flavors in it that I can enjoy, even though I'm not a big bourbon drinker." And I stand by that. I think anyone could sit down and enjoy this bottle, no problem.
No, I mean it's definitely a flavor profile that's very approachable, right? I mean it's 109, which I think it actually punches below its weight class. It doesn't drink like a 109.
Yeah,
No.
It's very approachable, but it's got the flavors of, and again, I liken it to cigars just because, again, this is the Ash Chat. We're smoking cigars at the same time.
What we do.
But it's
It is up all you shot.
it's full flavor and not full body.
Good.
Yes.
Yes.
It's not very strong, but it packs a ton of flavor, and it drinks heavier. It's thick. It's got some viscosity to it, but it's very approachable.
Yeah,
it's great.
I would.
honestly.
If you were to tell me that's 109, I'd be like, "You're lying. That there's no way that's 109." It'll creep up on you. Don't get me wrong, but it is. It'll creep up. It's 109. It'll creep up on you, but drinking it straight, you're gonna be like, "No, that's definitely not 109 proof," which is good because you don't want people's throats on fire,
Right. Yeah, no, it's got no heat.
No, one thing that we talked about is, at some point, I'm going to get an old fashioned with this.
Oh,
See what that.
Yes.
Because I think
I could see that.
I think the
We should
flavor
make smoked
profile-
old fashions on the podcast with this.
We got the smoker at the club.
Oh, I see.
Well,
part two.
that's a great thing, and that's also very dangerous because we can definitely finish a bottle, no problem.
Yeah, I could definitely see this being a very good old fashioned.
So I
can
do
see
have
that.
to ask, during the process, was there any point where there was disagreement on something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely disagreed on stuff, but we talked it through. It was like, we had 5 different rounds. Well, first we got there, we sat down at the table, the king's table, and we tasted the individual staves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then we took notes, we talked about those, their points, and then we talked about the blending. And then, we came to a consensus and blend this, blend that. And so, yeah, there was disagreements, but, through conversation, compromise, we were able to get here, and also the 4 other iterations before we chose this one.
Yeah, so we talked everything through. Like, again, some people are like, "Hey, I like more of this flavor." I like because all the staves we tasted individually before we started mixing stuff together. So we tried the baked American pure, the French I can't pronounce that. So Maker's Mark. Cuvée.
Seared French cuvee.
Maker's Mark 46, the roasted French, and the toasted French spice. We tasted all those individually, and according to each,
A lot of French.
yeah, a lot of French.
Yeah.
So yeah. So again, according to everyone's flavor profile, everyone liked each stave a little bit better than someone else. And so there was discussion. Like, I really like this. I think we should put this much in it, that much in it. And again, we had 5 iterations. And I got, I won't say arguments, but everyone said, "Hey, we should have more of this. We should have more of that."
Very good discussion.
But good discussions, and like I said, we this was number 3, and we still did 2 more, saying, "Hey, I think we could do better, or we could try something else, see what it compares." But at the end of the day, We went with number 3 because it was unanimous. When everyone took the first sip, they were like, "This is it.
Nice.
This is something that's like legit
Yeah,
a good pick."
I think ultimately we got the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
Right? We got something sweet that wasn't going to punch you in the mouth, but it wasn't too sweet that it was like candy. It was kind of like that marriage, that warm hug that
That's it,
mentioned
the warm hug.
previously, where
Come here, Raul.
it's kind of like, hey girl,
Boricua's in the house.
It just works.
Yeah.
So, you know what's interesting is I'm listening to you guys, and I wasn't part of the adventure, and I love it. But I can tell you this much: I've been in this process with cigars. When I went to the My Father factory, and they were finalizing the blend for the 10th anniversary of Flor de las Antillas, and all the reps and salespeople, we had our cigars, number 1, number 2, number 3, and we had to smoke them at different times of the day. And after each one, we had to give feedback as a group, and individually they would ask us. And then, but at the end, they gave the result, and the result was pretty good. It was overwhelming. Like one particular one paid the most homage to that cigar, and the characteristics about the cigars kind of made it to the final product, which is out, which was limited out now. So listening to you guys, and it's funny how this world is, but it's the truth. When it comes to spirits, same process. When it comes to cigars, same process. Even coffee, same process. Different countries, regions, so many wines. It's amazing. So I'm so glad, because I know after that experience, I became absolute uber fan with regards to that, and I gained a lot more respect for blenders who put out solid product. It's amazing, that they can do repeatedly keep putting out something so good that the consumers, will take it and enjoy it and talk about it and keep growing from it. So kudos to you guys on this one.
You welcome.
We're not successful. Just a funny thing. At the end, we made the final selection. We all went to sign the barrel. They put our label on it. What was going to get mixed. The selections we picked of how much of each stave was going to go on our barrel. And there was a couple other people doing the same thing and signing off on their barrels. And I just happened to peek over and see what they picked. And I'm like, and it's funny because I'm looking at them, and they had stuff way different than ours. And I'm like, how did they even come to that? Like, how does, just thinking from what I like and what we picked, I'm like, they had I think like their first 3 staves, Baked American, the French Cuvée, and the Maker's Mark 46, they had all zeros, and then like 3, and, and I'm like, how does that even, does that even taste good to them? But it all depends on each person's flavor profile, who's part of that group.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think we picked something where, regardless of what your flavor palette is, I think you're going to enjoy it. And it's, to me, I consider like one of those cigars. Like, it doesn't matter, if you like, acids, or you like something that's, Maduros that's going to punch you in the throat, you're going to enjoy it one way or another. And that's what I compare it to. I think our pick will stand up, pretty much whether, like I said, you drink bourbon every day or you don't drink bourbon at all. I think it's something that someone can pour and enjoy regardless, just like there's cigars out there. And, I don't have to name any because you guys obviously know, but there's cigars that anyone can pick up, whether you're new to cigar smoking or you've been smoking cigars for 20 years, you're going to pick it up and be like, you know what? That's a good stick. And I think it's the same thing with this bottle.
I mean, ultimately, there's no bad answers, right?
Yeah.
It's just, you like what you like, what you do. So, yeah. And we had a blast doing it. I mean, it was
Well, I think that's the key takeaway, right? Like, you guys got to do this as a group, as friends, to like share this experience and like create that. Like, you created this.
Yeah, we actually have something physical we can look at and touch and say, yeah, we did that.
Yeah, and I recommend even if you can't go, pick a barrel, because that's a select experience to go pick a barrel. But even if you can just go do the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, it's well worth it. Kentucky's an experience on to its own. If you like, if you're not a big bourbon person, but you like cigars, it's well worth it. You check out the distilleries, and just see what they have down there to offer. And Kentucky is a phenomenal trip, one way or another. Whether you drink bourbon or don't, you just enjoy cigars. It's well worth the experience because, again,
if you drink bourbon.
Yeah, it helps if you drink bourbon, or like to drink one. But my thing is, again, I haven't. If you have a your favorite cigar that you like to puff on,
you can't go wrong with trying a few different spirits to go along with it, and you'd be surprised with the different flavor profiles how it enhances your favorite smoke.
And
100%.
I was to say, let's not forget the missing element of all this that isn't spoken. It's the people you're around that enhance everything.
I didn't like any of the guys that went down there.
Well, they didn't like you either, but still.
That's why it was the last bit.
Yeah, that's the last.
Yeah.
In fact,
They couldn't find anyone else.
You didn't have to say it out loud.
We're on a podcast. That's what John.
I feel like you and me are Voldemort, the two old guys in the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Waldorf. And,
Waldorf Stadler.
Yes, there you go. But no, it's, that's when you're around good people, and it just kind of, everything gets enhanced really well. It's really a good time for everybody. And it was funny, we were talking about the blend and all the, different, like coffee and cigars, but even cooking, spices and so many different variables that happen in that one too. And, there's people who have palates that, you shake your head at, and then there's other things that you'll freaking eat 10 times over because it's just what it is, so.
I don't want to throw any sacrilege into this bottle, but I definitely will be trying a candied bacon Magnificent 6 version.
Oh, shit. That's sacrilege. Oh, shit.
That's not sacrilege. You can't go wrong with bacon.
It sounds like you just got to bring enough for the whole class.
There you go. It'll be on.
Very good. See, I like that. Very good. See? Yeah. Breaking news right here.
Magnificent bake.
Magnificent.
I like
That
it.
launching in 2026. Because I have a feeling he's gonna have to go through the trial and error period. Nope, still not.
It only takes about 5, 6, 7 pounds of bacon before I get it right. I mean, I'm just saying.
So that's like a day.
I mean, you're a good friend. I will sacrifice my time and be a tester and help you.
Yeah, definitely, Raul. If you need someone to test your iterations, your process, let me know.
The crosses you have to bear.
See, there you go. You're all set now.
Sounds like I have my test crew all together already.
Oh yeah, you got a few guys here that'll sacrifice their time. Yeah, but it's interesting you bring it, like going back to what you were saying, like pair it with a spirit, pair it with some kind of food. It's funny how my taste in cigars changes with A, time of day, B, what I've had for dinner will depend on what I follow it up with in the morning. I'm definitely going
Lighter.
something lighter with a nice strong black cup of coffee or something, which is
It's so
I'm
fun.
really interested in. We're going to talk more about your 50 coffees on another podcast, because we're gonna do one from your location. If you didn't know that,
No. It's the pleasures of having a partner. You said what?
He said barista.
He makes 49. He's lying.
I want to taste all 50.
I swear, you're gonna taste all 50 in one sitting, and I'm gonna die laughing.
That's what she said.
I gotta get the hazard.
Oh my God.
I gotta get the hazard kit for you. Shit.
It's not your turn.
Oh, you gotta hear it. It won't go away. Going back to what Dave was saying about smoking, I've actually found myself switching up, and when I have a nice, rich, robust cup of coffee in the morning, and having a medium body stick right out the gate to help balance that coffee, and it just seems to be pairing for me so nicely. When it comes to it, just something to switch up and try different new, because I used to always think like, let's start off light and then you go from there, which is true. Most of the time it's good, even like at night. It's always good to wind down, but I lately have been just testing the waters, and it's been a pleasure because the coffee seems to be picked up, so I'm not diluting any of the strength of the coffee, and the cigar is keeping it, they're nice in their lanes paired together, so it's something I've been enjoying to share with you.
very nice. I'll have to check that out and try that myself.
I'll get a text message, you'll be like, you bastard.
No, because we've talked about it on episodes before. Like I definitely tend to track toward the stronger, fuller-bodied cigar. So even when I'm starting off lighter, it's still probably I don't want to say mild, but it's definitely medium minus maybe at the lowest. So that's a good It's a good trial. It's a good trial. I'll put it that way.
Well, we'll definitely. I have some connections, so we'll in the cigar industry. So
Just a few.
I've heard.
those kind of experiences,
Yeah.
like, are going to be something that I'm looking to make sure to bring and get people to open up and learn more about those nuances that maybe you were overseeing and not even realizing it's happening. I'm a big fan of all that. I mean, if anything that can help enrich, the what you're enjoying and bring you to another level, I'm all about it. So there's a couple of companies doing some great things with that. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting. You talk about starting off the day, and I hear a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to start off with something mild. I'm going to have a cup of coffee, whatever." And in my mind, I do also go for the fuller body cigars. And when I hear people say, "No, I'm going to start off with a lighter stick," I'm like, "Why?" I'm just going to go with what I like.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found myself, like Arturo's giving me a couple of sticks that are a little bit more on the mild, going towards the medium, and I've come to appreciate, doing it with blending it like a cup of coffee or a nice, Manhattan special kind of thing.
Yeah.
It definitely brings about that different profile of, I can sit back and enjoy this. It's not, in my mind, it was always, I want to start off with a mild stick because everybody else having a mild stick. Sure, why not? I actually enjoy it now.
Well, like I said, it comes back to, and again, comparing it to the whiskey world too. Like, you have that, I liken this to a full flavor, but not full body. You can still get that in a mild cigar, right? You can still get a lot of flavor out of
100%
a Connecticut wrapper. And so just because it's quote unquote mild doesn't mean that it's not flavorful and not gonna be
absolutely
a good stick. So I learned that the hard way, because I was the same way. Like, I just want the dark shit. Just give me this. Just give me the strong one. That's what I like. I didn't realize the way that came out when I said it, but I can't take it back.
Let it go, bro.
Luckily, I could just edit this podcast.
Wipe the tear. Keep going. Very cool. Very cool.
No, awesome. So I think we're gonna wrap it up around there. We've been at this one for about an hour and a half, so this is a nice beefy episode. But there was a lot of you guys to get on here, and I think it was well worth it. Really educational, really cool hearing about the entire experience of going down and picking the bottle, and just the way everything kind of worked out and how that whole process goes, and wrapping it in with Porco and Arturo here. I was getting there. Come on.
No, here we go. Well, cheers to Magnificent Six for sure.
Yeah, so I want to end this with a cheers.
Oh, yeah.
To the Magnificent Six. To Arturo and Porco at the Prime Tobacconist, which we are going to get deep into in a very, very soon to be released episode. So thank you everyone for listening. This has been a blast. Thank you for everyone that's been on the podcast. And don't forget to check out Wines and More Milford.com for your tickets for this Friday. If you're listening after Friday, sorry, you lost. All right. See you guys. Thank you.
Peace. Peace. Peace.